Chosen one, something is about to shift, and your spirit already knows it. You can feel it in the quiet moments, in the pressure that doesn't make sense, in the sudden emotions that come and go like waves. Heaven is stirring, and the next few days are not just days, they're a divine countdown. These are the hours before the turn, the space between preparation and manifestation. You may not see it yet, but everything around you is being tested for alignment. Your peace, your patience, your purpose. This is where the chosen are separated from the distracted. You'll notice strange signs, delays, vivid dreams, unexpected silence. Don't panic. Heaven often goes quiet right before it speaks the loudest. You are standing on the edge of instruction, and how you move in these next days will determine how quickly heaven moves for you. The enemy wants to pull your focus now through fear, fatigue, and noise. But don't fall for it. Stillness is your weapon. Readiness is your armor. Because heaven is about to open a door that no human hand can close. So stay aware, stay calm, stay grounded in truth. You are being positioned for a moment that has been written since before time began. And when it arrives, when heaven finally says now, every delay will make sense. Chosen one, the countdown has already started. Stay ready. Chosen one, have you been feeling that strange anticipation lately? Like something invisible is pressing on your spirit. And do you sense that time feels different now? Faster, heavier, more charged than before? That's not your imagination. Heaven has started a countdown. The spiritual realm is not silent right now. It's synchronizing. Every choice you make, every thought you entertain, every emotion you feed, they're all being measured, weighed, aligned with what's coming next. The countdown isn't about minutes or days. It's about readiness, because heaven moves according to alignment, not calendars. The energy around you is shifting with precision. You've probably noticed strange patterns, moments of déjà vu, bursts of exhaustion, sudden clarity followed by silence. These aren't random. They're calibration points. The divine is tuning your spirit, preparing you to hear instructions that can't be received through noise. This is why distractions have intensified, why some people are testing your patience again, why emotions you thought were healed suddenly resurface. The enemy always stirs chaos before heaven gives direction. It's his last attempt to make you react instead of recognize. Don't fall for it. Every irritation right now is a disguised invitation, an opportunity to prove that you've learned the lesson. The next few days are not punishment. They are positioning. The pressure you feel is not rejection. It's recalibration. God is arranging circumstances to make sure you're standing in the right place when the next instruction drops. And it's close, closer than you think. Do you feel the tension, the pull between wanting to move and being told to wait? That's the spiritual rubber band stretching. Heaven is gathering momentum, and when it releases, everything will accelerate at once. You won't have to chase, you won't have to push. It will unfold. This is why discernment is crucial right now. Not every door that opens in the next few days will be divine. Some will be distractions in disguise. Heaven will never call you into confusion. You'll recognize the right opportunity by the peace it carries. If it drains your energy or rushes your spirit, it's not from God. But if it aligns with your purpose, even if it scares you, peace will quietly rest underneath the fear. That's how you'll know. Chosen one, don't mistake quiet for inactivity. When heaven counts down, it doesn't shout, it whispers. It slows you down because divine movement requires still foundations. The Creator can't build on chaos, so He stills the storm within you before giving you your next assignment. That's why you felt heavy, tired, or emotional lately. Heaven is clearing static from your signal. Right now, angels are moving like architects. They're rearranging the landscape of your timeline, making room for what's been promised. People will exit. Opportunities will pause. Things you depended on may suddenly shift. It's not collapse, it's construction. The countdown is heaven's blueprint, taking form in real time. When God begins to count down, everything unaligned starts to shake. That's why your surroundings may feel uncertain, because only what's meant to last will remain standing. Every delay, every silence, every test in these coming days is serving one purpose: to prepare you to step without hesitation when heaven finally says, "Now." Chosen one, don't rush this phase. You are in the prelude of manifestation. The silence is sacred. The stillness is loaded. Your obedience in this window will decide the rhythm of your next season. So breathe deeply. Notice the patterns. Listen for the whisper. The countdown isn't to warn you, it's to wake you. Something extraordinary is aligning in your favor. And when the final number strikes 0, what took years will unfold in days. The shift isn't coming someday. It has already begun. Stay ready. Chosen one, do you feel it? That invisible weight pressing against your spirit lately? And have you noticed how emotions rise and fall without warning? Like waves that seem to come from nowhere? That's not instability. That's spiritual pressure. And it's one of the clearest signs that heaven is preparing to move something massive in your life. Before every divine shift, pressure always builds. It's the way the unseen realm tests structure before expansion. Just like the earth trembles before a volcano erupts, your energy field begins to quiver before breakthrough. Heaven doesn't want to destroy you with what's coming. It wants to strengthen you to carry it. So it applies gentle, increasing pressure to reveal where cracks still exist. This is why you've felt stretched, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Why rest feels difficult. Why people who used to comfort you now seem distant or confusing. The familiar is fading because the future is forming. Pressure is heaven's way of saying you can't fit into your old rhythm anymore. You might be asking, but why does it hurt so much? Because transformation always presses before it releases. The cocoon tightens before the butterfly breaks free. The soil must crush the seed before it sprouts, and the chosen one must be squeezed before the oil of purpose can pour out. The pressure isn't punishment, it's prophecy. It's heaven testing capacity, not worth. The emotional turbulence you've been feeling is calibration. You're being rewired to handle more clarity, more authority, more light. The old version of you operated in survival. The new one will operate in sovereignty. And that requires an entirely new nervous system, spiritual, emotional, and energetic. Heaven is preparing your vessel for velocity. Chosen one, pressure exposes what peace conceals. When things get tight, your true foundations show. That's why heaven allows temporary discomfort to reveal what needs to be fortified before the blessing arrives. If peace alone taught us, we'd never grow. But pressure teaches precision. It shows you which habits no longer serve you, which connections leak your energy, which fears still linger in the corners of your faith. Do you remember when you said, "I'm ready for the next level"? That prayer initiated this season. Heaven took your words seriously, and now it's upgrading you through intensity. Because every next level demands a stronger version of peace. Before God expands your influence, He strengthens your core. And that strengthening comes disguised as pressure. But here's the truth. Pressure never appears without purpose. It's heaven's invitation to mastery. To respond differently this time. When the familiar triggers appear again in these coming days, don't react. Recognize. When things slow down unexpectedly, don't complain. Calibrate. Every delay, every emotional flare-up, every test of patience is part of your conditioning for clarity. You're being trained to stay still while everything shakes. Because after the shift, your peace will need to lead others through their own storms. This is leadership training from heaven. And pressure is the classroom. When you start feeling overwhelmed, pause and remind yourself, this is proof I'm close. Pressure is proximity. The heat only rises when the gold is almost ready, and you are being refined into something radiant. A vessel that can carry divine fire without being burned. So breathe through it. The pressure won't last. The contraction always precedes birth. And soon, what feels heavy will feel holy. The tension in your chest will turn into clarity in your spirit. The confusion will become confirmation. And you'll look back and realize heaven wasn't breaking you. It was breaking you open. Chosen one, don't despise this moment. The pressure is not proof of delay. It's proof of destiny. Every tremor in your heart, every sudden emotion, every wave of fatigue is the sound of old timelines collapsing. You're being pulled through the narrow gate into your next season. The air will feel thinner here because you're rising. And soon, the pressure you feel will turn into power you command. That's the shift. That's the countdown. That's why these days are so crucial. Stay steady. Stay grounded. Stay ready. Heaven is about to release what it has been building under pressure. Why these next days are spiritually sensitive. Chosen one, have you wondered why your spirit feels so alert lately? As if something unseen is walking just ahead of you. And have you noticed how every sound, every dream, every encounter feels charged with meaning? That's because these days are spiritually sensitive. The veil between the seen and unseen is thinner than usual, and your awareness is the key that determines what enters your space. This isn't just another cycle. It's an activation window. Right now, heaven is watching your responses more than your requests. Because when the atmosphere becomes this sensitive, even your smallest reactions send ripples through the spirit. What you think, say, and focus on during these crucial days becomes creative power. It begins to shape what comes next. That's why silence has felt heavier lately. Heaven is not ignoring you, it's listening. Every sigh, every moment of restraint, every decision to stay peaceful when chaos invites reaction, it's all being recorded as spiritual data. The sensitivity of these days means that what once took months to manifest will now move faster, for better or worse. Your energy is magnetic right now, so protect it like treasure. You might notice your sleep patterns changing, your body feeling warmer or heavier, Your emotions swinging between calm and clarity. That's not fatigue. That's frequency adjustment. Your spirit is syncing with the rhythm of a coming revelation. Heaven is fine-tuning your internal compass so you'll recognize divine instruction the moment it arrives. But here's the thing. Sensitivity can feel like warfare if you don't understand it. You're not being attacked, you're being activated. Every heightened feeling is a sign that your discernment is expanding. The confusion, the strange coincidences, the vivid dreams, they're not random, they're training. You're learning to hear beyond the noise, to feel truth instead of forcing understanding. Do you remember when God seemed to go quiet for a while? That silence wasn't absence, it was calibration. Heaven often withdraws sound so that your senses can sharpen. And now, because you stayed faithful through the quiet, you can hear whispers that others miss. That's why this period is so crucial. The sensitivity you feel is heaven trusting you with more signal than before. But that also means you must choose your atmosphere carefully. In these next days, not every voice deserves access to your energy. Some conversations will dull your discernment. Some environments will lower your vibration, and some connections, even good ones, may need distance for now, simply because they carry noise that heaven didn't authorize for this chapter. Chosen one, your spiritual radar is sharper than ever, and that's both a gift and a responsibility. Because sensitivity without discipline leads to confusion, but sensitivity paired with stillness leads to revelation. You're not just hearing more, you're learning to hear right. This is why it's so important not to overreact. When energy becomes this responsive, your emotions act like amplifiers. Fear multiplies fast, but so does faith. So in the next few days, every moment of calm, every prayer whispered in faith, every decision to pause before reacting, it multiplies powerfully in your favor. You are walking through sacred days, days written into your timeline long before you arrived here. The tests you face right now are not about punishment, they're about permission. Heaven is testing your readiness for greater authority. If you can hold peace in this sensitivity, you can hold power in the next season. So stay aware. Watch what stirs your emotions, what steals your attention, what drains your energy. If it's not feeding your faith, it's feeding your fear, and that can't go with you. Guard your gates, your eyes, your ears, your thoughts. You're a transmitter right now, not just a receiver. Every vibration you emit shapes what heaven mirrors back. Chosen one, these are not ordinary days. They're initiation days. The atmosphere is responsive, the spiritual realm is alert, and the next few days are your opportunity to align completely. You don't need to force anything. You just need to remain aware. Because when the atmosphere is this sensitive, one pure act of faith can open 1,000 unseen doors. Heaven is not warning you to fear. It's calling you to focus, because in this heightened sensitivity, every choice counts. And the chosen will rise by how well they stay still when everything feels electric. So breathe slowly, speak carefully, move intentionally. The days ahead are holy ground. Chosen one, tell me this. Have you noticed how lately the smallest things seem to drain you faster than usual? And have you caught yourself feeling suddenly exhausted after talking to certain people, scrolling for too long, or overthinking something that didn't deserve that much space in your mind? That's not coincidence. It's a spiritual leak. And heaven is asking you to guard your energy with precision. In these crucial days, the distractions won't always look dark. Some will look comfortable. They'll sound familiar, feel harmless, even comforting. But they're designed to pull you out of focus just long enough to dull your discernment. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you to delay you. He only needs to distract you. Right now, your spiritual sensitivity is at its peak. Your intuition is sharp, your energy field receptive. But that also makes you more vulnerable to interference. You're picking up more signals, both divine and deceptive. And this is where wisdom becomes your armor. Not every call should be answered. Not every thought deserves a response. Not every emotional wave is an invitation. Heaven is watching how you steward your attention because focus is the currency of this season. Whatever you give consistent energy to will multiply. That's how strong your frequency has become. If you feed chaos, chaos grows. If you feed peace, peace expands. Think about it. How many times have you lost your calm over something small lately? That wasn't weakness, it was warfare. Distraction is one of the enemy's most effective spiritual weapons because it feels so human. He doesn't come to you in obvious darkness. He comes dressed as something urgent. But urgency is not always divine. Sometimes it's deceptive. If it steals your peace, it's not from heaven. Guarding your energy isn't selfish, it's sacred. You're protecting the atmosphere heaven is using to communicate with you. The next instruction, the one you've been waiting for, will come through peace, not noise. So if something threatens your inner stillness, even slightly, step back. The more you protect your peace, the louder heaven's guidance becomes. You may feel guilty pulling away from certain people or spaces right now. But remember, solitude is not rejection. It's refinement. God often isolates before he elevates. Because not everyone who cheered for your healing can handle your awakening. Some were attached to the version of you that needed saving. Now that you're walking in authority, they may unconsciously try to pull you back to comfort. Stay kind, but stay focused. Do you notice how certain interactions feel heavy, even when nothing wrong is said? That's energetic feedback. Your spirit is telling you, this vibration doesn't match my assignment anymore. Listen to it. Don't argue with it. When heaven upgrades your calling, it also upgrades your circle. Some connections were divine for a season, but draining for a lifetime. It takes discernment to tell the difference. Protecting your energy also means protecting your inner dialogue. The thoughts you entertain are visitors, and some come disguised as truth. Fear often enters through reasoning. Doubt often sounds logical, but peace always carries simplicity. If the thought complicates your faith, it's not from God. So in these next days, treat your energy like a temple. Clean it daily. Rest when you need to. Pray before you speak. Breathe before you decide. Heaven isn't impressed by how much you do. It's moved by how deeply you align. And alignment requires boundaries. There's a reason this chapter feels so quiet. Heaven is trying to protect your bandwidth. It knows that in just a few moments, the next instruction will come. Clear, sudden, undeniable. But to catch it, your signal must be clear. That's why these distractions have been circling. To test your focus before the download. Chosen one, if it drains your peace, it delays your promise. If it confuses your spirit, it's not your assignment. If it doesn't grow your faith, it's not meant for this season. These are the filters you must use now. Guard your energy not with fear, but with reverence. Because what heaven is about to release through you requires a clean channel. And the cleaner your energy, the faster the blessing flows. So unplug from the noise. Step back from what steals your stillness. Don't let urgency rush you out of alignment. You're not falling behind, you're being refined. Heaven is moving in silence, preparing a shift that only peace can perceive. Protect that peace like your crown, because it is. Chosen one, have you noticed how lately life feels like a test you didn't study for? And do you ever wonder why heaven keeps repeating certain situations? As if you're walking through the same classroom again and again? That's not punishment. That's precision. Heaven is testing readiness, not loyalty. You've already proven your faith. You've endured storms that broke others. But now God wants to see how you respond to the small things, because it's in the quiet tests that true mastery is revealed. Before elevation comes examination, and in this divine season, the tests are subtle, not to confuse you, but to confirm you. The old tests came loud: betrayal, loss, sudden endings. This time, the lessons come softly, in patience, restraint, discernment, timing. It's the test of how long you can wait without losing trust. The test of whether you shall bless others even when you're tired. The test of not reacting when you know you could. Heaven's tests never come to expose weakness. They come to reveal strength. And lately, that's exactly what's happening. Every delay is an X-ray of your faith. Every silence is a mirror showing what still lingers inside. When nothing seems to move, heaven is measuring your alignment, your discipline, your focus. It's asking silently, are you ready to lead from peace, not panic? Sometimes the test looks like a familiar face returning, asking for your time. Sometimes it looks like an opportunity that seems perfect, but requires you to compromise your peace. And sometimes it's just silence, to see if you'll create chaos just to fill the quiet. Chosen one, remember this. God doesn't test you to fail you. He tests you to reveal how far you've already come. The test is not to make you doubt. It's to make you decide. Every choice in these days is a declaration of which timeline you belong to, the old one of reaction or the new one of divine response. Ask yourself, can I hold faith without evidence? Can I trust divine timing when it contradicts my plan? Because that's the level of faith that opens heaven's vault. You've already passed more tests than you realize. Think back. How many storms have you endured, yet you're still standing? You've faced endings, heartbreaks, and uncertainty, but your heart didn't harden. That's not weakness. That's growth. Heaven noticed the moments you stayed kind when you could have turned cold. It saw you forgive when no apology came. It watched you stay faithful when no sign appeared. Those were your graduations, chosen one. You've been quietly promoted, even if the world hasn't seen it yet. That's why new tests are coming subtly, because the stakes are higher now. You're being prepared for influence, for leadership, for destiny. And heaven must ensure that power won't shift your purity. Every great move of God comes with small, secret rehearsals. Moses faced them in the desert. David faced them in the fields. Esther faced them in the silence before the king's call. You're facing yours now. The silent tests that shape your strength. Sometimes the test is patience. Sometimes it's perception. Sometimes it's just keeping your peace when everything feels urgent. Don't despise these quiet moments. They're heaven's laboratories, where character and clarity are refined. You don't have to understand every test to pass it. You just have to stay faithful through it. When things don't make sense, stay still. When people provoke you, stay grounded. When delays stretch longer than your comfort, keep your focus on why you started. These are not random obstacles. They are measurements of maturity. Each one is a checkpoint that leads you closer to your destiny. And the moment you respond differently, when you choose faith over fear, calm over chaos, the test ends. The lock clicks open. The path shifts forward. Chosen one, heaven is grading your peace, not your performance. It's not asking for perfection, just presence. Because your awareness, your restraint, your ability to stay centered amid pressure, that's how heaven knows you're ready. So when the next subtle test appears, the message that triggers you, the delay that frustrates you, the silence that feels endless, smile. You're not being punished, you're being promoted. You're sitting in heaven's final review. And once you pass, the doors that were once locked will swing open as if they were waiting for your calm to turn the key. Stay grounded, stay gracious, stay faithful. The test isn't to see if you can survive pressure. You already did that. Now, heaven wants to see if you can carry peace while holding power. And when you can, the breakthrough will find you without you even moving. Chosen one, do you ever feel like everything around you has gone still, too still, as if heaven pressed pause on your entire life? And in that stillness, do you sometimes wonder if maybe you missed something, or if God has gone silent for good? He hasn't. That silence you're feeling isn't absence. It's alignment. Before heaven moves, it synchronizes. It gathers every thread of your timeline, every person, every opportunity, every prayer you've ever whispered, and begins weaving them together with divine precision. And that process looks like nothing on the surface. But behind the stillness, the heavens are in motion. You are standing in the quiet before the breakthrough, the space where heaven calibrates what you've prayed for to who you've become. This is why doors haven't opened yet, because the version of you that prayed for those doors has evolved. And heaven refuses to give new power to old patterns. The stillness isn't punishment, it's protection. It's heaven saying, don't move. I'm adjusting the path. You may not see it yet, but the spiritual world around you is alive with rearrangement. People are being positioned. Events are being delayed or accelerated. Even your emotions are being rewired to fit the frequency of your next phase. That's why you've been pulled into quiet. Not because you've done something wrong, but because heaven is fine-tuning you to move in divine timing, not emotional timing. Have you noticed how lately things that once excited you now feel heavy? How certain goals suddenly seem too small? That's because heaven is editing your desires to match its design. The things that once felt urgent no longer fit the blueprint. God is pulling you back, not to hold you down, but to aim you with greater accuracy. Alignment always requires pause. A bow must be drawn backward before the arrow flies forward. You, chosen one, are that arrow. Heaven is pulling you into silence because it's aiming your destiny. This quiet season is sacred. Heaven is teaching you to move by instruction, not impulse. In the past, you may have chased blessings. Now, blessings are being aligned to chase you. But first, everything must synchronize. Your spirit, your habits, your relationships, your focus. Because heaven cannot pour precision into chaos. This is the kind of alignment that feels like loss before it feels like blessing. Old plans dissolve, old identities fade. People you thought would walk with you suddenly drift away. It feels lonely, but loneliness is just the sound of your old timeline closing. Heaven isn't taking things from you, it's taking things off you, things too heavy to carry where you're going. Do you trust that the silence still carries purpose? Can you rest when nothing seems to move? Because this part of the process is where faith graduates from words to wisdom. It's easy to believe when miracles are visible, but heaven calls the chosen to believe in the invisible motion of alignment. You're not behind schedule, you're exactly on time. The waiting is not delay, it's divine choreography. What feels like inactivity is heaven reordering events to favor your destiny. The conversation that didn't happen yet, it's being rescheduled for divine timing. The opportunity that paused, it's being rewritten to fit your new capacity. Even the rejection you faced, it was heaven's way of rerouting you before you built your foundation on sand. Chosen one, you are not forgotten in this silence. You are featured. Heaven saves its most precise work for the quiet moments. It's building connections you can't see, aligning miracles that haven't yet surfaced, and creating divine collisions that will look like coincidences when they unfold. When the stillness feels unbearable, whisper this truth to yourself. Heaven isn't late, it's layering. Every delay is a layer of divine preparation, invisible now, essential later. Because when your breakthrough comes, it won't trickle in, it will flood. And it will fit so perfectly that you'll realize why every no had to happen first. Stay still in this silence. Don't chase noise, don't force timing, don't interpret the quiet as reaction. Interpret it as refinement. You are standing in the pause before the performance, the breath before the divine sentence finishes. Heaven is not done writing your story, it's perfecting the next line. Chosen one, the alignment is nearly complete. When heaven finally says go, nothing will stop it. Every delay, every silence, every waiting moment will make sense in a single heartbeat. Because what's coming won't require effort. It will simply click into place. Stay patient, stay tuned. The orchestra of heaven is tuning every instrument, and soon the music will start. And when it does, your name will echo through its melody. Chosen one, have you felt the ground under your spirit trembling, as if something big is about to move, but you can't quite see it yet? And have you noticed how the things you thought were stable suddenly feel uncertain, as if heaven itself is rearranging your reality? It is. Because before divine movement, there is always a final shake. Heaven shakes what's unstable so it doesn't collapse under your blessing later. The shaking isn't destruction, it's calibration. It's God removing the unanchored pieces of your old foundation so the new one can stand firm when the weight of purpose arrives. Every major transition in Scripture was preceded by shaking. Moses saw it when the earth trembled before freedom. Elijah felt it when the wind tore through the mountain before the whisper came. Even Jesus endured it, a storm on the sea before the calm that carried miracles. And now it's your turn. This is your final shake. The reason it feels so intense right now is because heaven is making sure no loose ends remain. Everything that isn't rooted in truth is being uprooted. Relationships built on convenience are being tested for connection. Opportunities built on ego are being sifted from those born of destiny. Even your own thoughts are being shaken, revealing which ones are faith and which are fear. You might be asking, but why does everything have to fall apart before it gets better? Because if it didn't shake, you'd never know which parts couldn't hold you. The cracks must appear now before the weight of your next blessing lands. When heaven is about to promote you, it destabilizes your comfort zone. It removes the illusions of control so you can rediscover dependence on divine order. The shaking is heaven's way of saying, I trust you enough to unsettle you. Because the chosen can handle what others run from. Do you notice how lately small irritations hit harder? How simple tasks take more energy? That's not weakness, that's energy shifting. You're being rewired to operate from power, not panic. The pressure you feel is your old vibration, cracking under the frequency of your new assignment. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. Every storm has a rhythm, and if you listen closely, you'll hear it, the rhythm of release. The more you surrender, the shorter the storm feels. Heaven shakes only until you stop resisting. Once you stop clinging to what's leaving, the storm loses power. You don't have to understand every tremor. Just trust that it's removing what you can't carry forward. The people drifting away, they're not abandoning you. They're being repositioned. The doors closing abruptly, they're sealing paths that no longer lead to purpose. The plans unraveling, they're making space for divine improvisation. Heaven's orchestration always sounds like chaos to untrained ears. Chosen one, don't confuse shaking with failure. Failure is when you give up during the shake. Faith is when you stand firm and say, even this is part of the plan. The final shake is always the most intense because it's the last layer before movement. Think of it as the universe taking a deep breath before exhaling your breakthrough. The tension you feel is creation itself, stretching to make room for your arrival. So when everything around you starts to tremble, don't panic, praise. When the familiar feels foreign, smile quietly to yourself. It means heaven is rearranging the furniture of your future. Walls are being knocked down. Space is being cleared. The vibration of your life is rising to match your divine calling. Ask yourself now, can I remain still while the ground shifts beneath me? Can I trust that what feels like loss is actually rearrangement? Because that's what this moment demands. Stillness under shaking. Anyone can believe in peace when it's visible. The chosen believe in peace while it trembles. The storm won't last long. It never does. And when it stops, the air will feel cleaner, the light sharper, your heart lighter. You'll look around and realize everything that remained after the shake, every relationship, every opportunity, every truth is exactly what you'll need for what comes next. This is not the end of your story. It's the purification of your foundation. Heaven is shaking the dust from your destiny. Soon, the trembling will stop, and in its place, there will be clarity, a stillness so holy that you'll understand why the shaking had to happen. Because once the ground settles, you'll see it, the path cleared, the doors aligned, the peace restored. And then the movement begins. Stay calm, chosen one. The shaking is almost over, and when it stops, heaven moves. Chosen one, have you ever wondered what it actually feels like when heaven finally says, "You're ready"? And would you even recognize that confirmation when it comes? Or would it arrive so quietly you might mistake it for nothing at all? Heaven's confirmation doesn't come through lightning or loud signs. It comes through peace, that deep, still, unexplainable calm that settles over you after the storm. It's the moment when your soul stops reaching and simply knows. After all the shaking, the waiting, the refining, something inside you clicks. You stop asking when and start saying thank you. You stop fighting for control and start moving with flow. That's the sign. That's heaven whispering, "You've passed the test." Readiness is not about perfection. It's about perception. It's about being able to hear instructions without panic, to trust movement without explanation, to walk forward even when you don't see the whole map. When heaven confirms your readiness, clarity replaces urgency. You no longer chase signs. Signs start chasing you. You'll notice it subtly at first. Doors that once resisted begin to open without effort. Opportunities find you. People who align with your purpose appear as if drawn magnetically. Even the timing of small things, messages, coincidences, moments of grace begin to flow with divine rhythm. That's not luck. That's alignment. That's heaven responding to your vibration. The tests weren't there to prove your worth. They were there to synchronize your spirit. And now, because you've stayed faithful in the silence and the steady in the shaking, the universe recognizes your frequency. You've become a match for the destiny you once only prayed for. Have you felt that strange, quiet confidence lately? That knowing without evidence? That's the seed of confirmation. Heaven doesn't scream when it approves, it rests. And suddenly, you rest too. The need to prove, explain, or defend dissolves. You realize that destiny doesn't need convincing, only consistency. When heaven confirms you're ready, your environment starts mirroring your growth. The same people who doubted you begin to sense your shift, not because you've changed overnight, but because your energy no longer negotiates with confusion. Your boundaries become sacred, your words carry weight, your silence becomes power. You start to glow differently, not from pride, but from peace. Heaven's confirmation often arrives disguised as release. You'll feel lighter, detached from what once consumed you. The urge to fix, chase, or force things disappears. That's because heaven removes the need for struggle the moment alignment is achieved. When the lesson is learned, the loop closes. And the divine says, "Now you can move." Ask yourself, have I noticed how much calmer I am about what used to overwhelm me? Have I realized that the things I was praying for no longer feel out of reach? That's not indifference, that's readiness. Heaven has been preparing your heart for manifestation. And the moment peace replaced panic, that was your graduation. You'll know heaven has confirmed you're ready when the signs that once confused you start making sense in hindsight. When every detour reveals its reason. When every heartbreak starts looking like a setup for destiny. When gratitude becomes your first response, not your last resort. Chosen one, you have been refined to reflect heaven's frequency. You've learned to stand still in storms, to trust silence, to discern distractions and to remain faithful when nothing seemed to move. That's readiness. That's authority. That's divine maturity. Now the alignment turns into activation. The waiting transforms into walking. The preparation becomes performance. You're stepping into the script heaven has been writing for years, one you were born to play. You won't need to announce it. Your peace will speak for you. People will sense it before you say it. They'll feel the shift in your presence, the glow of someone who's no longer striving, but anchored. The moment heaven confirms you're ready is rarely loud, but everything changes after it. You'll feel time bending to meet you. You'll sense divine acceleration without exhaustion. You'll see prayers manifest in patterns you didn't even plan. And in that quiet, sacred knowing, you'll hear heaven's whisper. You've made it through the fire, and you didn't lose your faith. You're ready now. So walk forward, chosen one. Not in fear, but in fulfillment, because the next chapter won't ask you to prove who you are. It will show the world who you've always been.